Hi, I'm Dave Annell. Welcome to episode 20 of Setting the Record Straight. In this episode, I'm returning to a theme that I've explored on a number of occasions before. Yes, it's time to ask once more whether Ancestry really know what they're doing. A case I was working on yesterday led me to investigate a man who spent some time in a London workhouse towards the end of the 19th century. I found references to his admission and discharge via Ancestry's London Workhouse Admission and Discharge Records database, covering the years 1764 to 1921. The database is provided in association with London Metropolitan Archives, the archive which holds the original records. Ancestry's own notes on the database tell us that this collection includes selected admission and discharge records for workhouses created and administered under the Poor Law Acts in London. The quality of the indexing is pretty much what you would expect from Ancestry. It's not brilliant, but it's by no means the worst that you'll encounter. The good news is that for every admission to a workhouse, you should find a corresponding discharge, even if the cause of the discharge is death, or, as in the case of Oliver Twist, the cause of the admission is birth. So long as they've correctly transcribed one of the records, you should be able to find the other one through a bit of focused browsing. So, for example, as we look down here, a lot of them do seem to have duplicate records, one for admission, one for discharge. But here we have this Arthur Ernest Heath, who was born 1873, admitted on the 15th of November 1899, but there doesn't appear to be an obvious corresponding discharge. These records then are very useful and fairly accessible. I'd give Ancestry 7 or 8 out of 10 on a scale where, to be fair, only 9.5 or 10 is really acceptable. But there are also a number of related databases to consider. There's one called Poor Law and Board of Guardian Records. There's another one called Poor Law Hospital Admissions and Discharges. And there's a third called Poor Law School District Registers, not to be confused with the separate London School Admissions and Discharges database. These are all extremely useful records, and it's fantastic that we're able to access them online, but there are several problems with them. And perhaps the biggest problem is that most of the records in this database, the Poor Law and Board of Guardian records, are not indexed. We're effectively dealing with digital microfilm, which wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for the fact that the arrangement of the records makes no sense whatsoever. All 4 databases are selections from a discrete, if enormously complex, collection of records held by the LMA, the records of the London Boards of Guardians. I genuinely struggle to see any sort of logic behind their arrangement here on Ancestry. Even the names of the individual databases make no sense. As I've said, one of them's called Poor Law and Board of Guardian Records, but they're all Poor Law and Board of Guardian Records. The London Metropolitan Archives have gone to great lengths to catalogue and describe the records. It's not perfect, and when you're dealing with such disparate types of records, it's never an exact science. But there's a degree of consistency across the record set, and it's not too hard to find what you want via the LMA's online catalogue. But when it comes to trying to find a particular register or bundle of documents on Ancestry, all is chaos. There is simply no pattern to it all, and no apparent method to their madness. It's as if someone had taken a pack of cards, thrown them up in the air, and left them where they fell. Let's have a look at a few examples from the Poor Law and Board of Guardian Records database. Some of these records, as I've said, have been indexed. We can, for example, search for Florence Snow, and we should find that there are 6 results, 3 relating to admissions, and very neatly, 3 relating to corresponding discharges. However, many more of the records on this database have not been indexed. So let's have a look at some of these unindexed records. We're going to access them via the Browse This Collection feature over on the right of the screen, and your first thing you'll see is that they're arranged by London Borough, which is the traditional way of the LMA arranging their documents, so don't have a problem with that at all. And we're going to select the London Borough of Hackney. Then from the next list, we'll choose Shoreditch. And then under record type, I'm going to go to admission and discharge. And we'll see there's a long list of records here. Now, remember, this is not the admission and discharge registers database. This is a different database, but you can see there are lots of records relating to admission and discharge. I'm going to select this one here, which is described as Infirmary, Later St Leonard's Hospital, Hoxton Street, 1902 to 1903. And this will drop us down on the front page of the register. I'm going to go to image 6, and we'll see there are a lot of records on this page. But the crucial thing is that this little button here to the right of the image numbers is grayed out. And this tells us that these records have not been indexed. There are no entries for any of these records on the database. Let's just have a look at this man here, Henry East, who was admitted in 1902 and discharged the same year, just a couple of months later. If we go back and do a search for Henry East, we will see that his record in this particular register does not come up. Just run that search. All we've got is an admission to the Lambeth Workhouse in 1906. So it's very clear that the records on this page have not been indexed. Note also that there is no archival reference quoted here, which is really, it's very shoddy practice. But if we go back to the front of the volume, we can see that the handwritten reference here tells us the reference number, the little handwritten label here. It's SHBG, so Shoreditch Board of Guardians, and then we have the reference 149/11. So we can now go to the LMA online catalogue and see what we can find out about this document there. The first thing to be aware of, and it's a little bit tricky, is that the actual piece number that was written on the cover of the document, was written as just the number 11, needs to be converted to a current LMA standard 3-figure number, i.e. 011. And if we enter the full number, the reference number here, let's do this, SHBG, so Shoreditch Board of Guardians, and it was 149/011. You can see I've already searched for it before. We can run that search, and this will tell us that it is a register of patients, males, 1902 to 1903. There's the full reference, it tells us, available online via www.ancestry.co.uk. So why are Ancestry incapable of using this description of the document, and why are they incapable of including the archival reference? I genuinely don't know the answer. It would seem to me to be easier to use the information purely provided by the LMA than to make up their own description. And this document is effectively, if not explicitly described as such, an admission and discharge register relating to a workhouse infirmary. Which begs the question, why isn't it part of the main workhouse admission and discharge records database, or even the Poor Law Hospital Admissions and Discharges database? I'm going to leave you with a challenge. I've spent more time than I'd like to trying to find this particular document in Ancestry's collection. It's described here on the LMA Catalog as the Fulham Road Workhouse Casebook covering the years 1890 to 1904. Gives the full archival reference, and it says it's from the collection of the Westminster Board of Guardians. It clearly states also available online via www.ancestry.co.uk. According to the LMA Catalog, then, it is available on Ancestry. I can't find it. Can you? Thanks for listening. I think I'm going to go into a dark room now and sit down and see if I can meditate away my frustration. I'll be back with another episode of Setting the Record Straight very soon.